Welcome to the daily news analysis with Narayana IS Academy. Today we are going to deal with 5 most important articles from The Hindu and Indian Express. We are going to cover them in detail in comprehensive manner, and these are the articles which are the most relevant articles from the newspapers today. Okay? But before we start, a piece of note for you, a piece of motivation for you. See, we all wake up every single day with lot in our minds. So maybe there is stress about work or studies or relationship or responsibilities. But when you look at these things, you need to know one thing, that when you wake up in the morning, if you feed your mind with some positive note, just one single positive note, that can actually have a good impact throughout your day. Your entire day might go better because of that one piece of motivation or one piece of affirmation. So, next time, just one small positive thought in the morning can change your whole day. Please note this thing. Feed your mind. Whenever you wake up, feed your mind with some kind of affirmation, some positive note. Okay? So, let's move ahead. Notification related to the admission. Our courses with respect to 1 year batch and 2 year batch, that is for 2026 and 2027 batch. These are active. All the details related to these courses are provided on the website. You can go for that QR code which is available on the screen, and you can get to know all the details. Okay. Now, moving ahead with our 5 articles of the day. Now, the first article is from The Hindu editorial page. Now, here is this editorial named as Steering the Decarbonization of India's Logistics Sector. Logistics sector is very important. When we study about economy, when we study about this infrastructure part, their logistics sector becomes highly important. Okay. And you can expect a direct question in the mains examination on this particular sector. So we'll discuss this part in detail. Then we have second article related to space travel. So there's a mission called Exom Mission. In this mission, there is one Indian personnel from the Indian Air Force. He is going for the space travel. He is now moving towards International Space Station. So we will understand this mission specifically because Indian astronaut is involved anyway. Then we have third article, ISRO-NASA mission Nisar. Now this Nisar mission is very important, and this is for the first time ISRO and NASA, they are collaborating to make a particular satellite. That's why we are going to study this one in detail. Then there's a major news that Bhagavad Gita and Natyashastra, these have entered UNESCO's register. So UNESCO maintains a register, and in this register, 2 new entries from India, and these are the two. So we need to know about this particular register in detail. And the last article is this restoration of sanity to the constitutional system. This is an editorial in The Hindu. This talks about the recent Tamil Nadu governor case. So I would say these are the 5 articles which are very relevant from exam point of view. Okay. So we'll start with the first article just right away. First article, decarbonization of India's logistics sector. Now see, if you look at the previous year question asked in the year 2021, you see there are many broad questions like investment in infrastructure is essential for more rapid and inclusive economic growth. Now this is a broad question. In this question you can mention about logistics sector maybe, but there can be some specific questions with respect to a particular sector. Okay, and you have to prepare. Now, why we are reading about India's logistics sector? The reason being, India's logistics sector is doing good, is doing decent, we can say. But there is one major problem, that it is carbon intensive, one of the most carbon intensive. That means in our logistics sector, we see lot of emission of carbon dioxide or emission of greenhouse gases. This is the reason it is in news. Okay. But first of all, we should know about this logistics sector in detail. When we say logistics sector, those who do not know, whenever any product, any good or any service has to reach from one place to the other place, from its origin to the destination, So let's say we are producing something in Maharashtra and sending it to UP. So origin is Maharashtra, destination is UP, the customer is staying there in UP, then the entire process of sending it will involve logistics sector. So it will involve the transportation part. So to transport, you might be using trucks, you might be using trains, you might be using inland transport mechanism, whatever. Or there will be some storage facilities, there must be some warehouses, there would be distribution units. So let's say there are some people involved for distributing it to the customers. All these things are part of logistics sector. Okay. Now when we look at India's logistics sector, to be specific, when we look at it from the perspective of Indian economy, we observe that its market valuation is somewhere around 228 billion US dollar. It's very substantial, we can say. And if you see the growth projection, it is being said by experts that by the year 2030, it will become somewhere around $357 billion. So logistics sector of India is having growth potential and is having an important market value. Now see the global share. India contributes around 5.8% of the global logistic market. So as compared to other countries also, our contribution is substantially more. So you can't neglect logistics sector. This is what we understand from this data. Now, there are some challenges, there are some problems with respect to India's logistics sector. One major problem that we face is the logistic cost. If you compare the logistic cost of India with respect to any other country, you'll observe that in India, the logistical cost is very high. When you're sending something from one place to the other place, you'll see the cost is very high. It's not just about transportation. Sometimes you don't have the warehouse, sometimes you don't have cold storage mechanism. Let's say you're sending some vegetables or some perishable goods that do not have much lifespan as such, so you need some refrigerator or you need some cold storage. We do not have much warehouses, we do not have the transportation mechanism for it. So that's the reason sometimes it becomes very costly. So if you see, India's logistics cost is somewhere around 13 to 14% of GDP. This is very high. If you compare it with other countries, they are standing at 8%, 10%, 12%, not more than that. And where are we standing? 14%. So compare 8% with 14, you'll understand we are adding number. Then we are over dependent on road transport. Now this is very important. You understand, when you're transporting something, you have different ways to transport. One way is you can transport something through road, let's say through a truck you are sending your package. This other way, you can use trains, you can use inland transports. Such mechanisms are there. Even aircraft can be sent. Now you see, ideally, sending something through railway is practically best. And ideally, not in practical sense, if you look at this inland waterway, this is considered to be the best one. If we look at things from environment's perspective, this is the best one because you do not see much pollution as such. You don't need much fuel as such as compared to other options. But when you're sending package through road, you need diesel. You need this fuel which is causing a lot of emission of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases, right? So if you ask me, how should a country run its logistics sector, then most of its logistics sector should depend on this railway or inland waterway. Why I'm saying railway also? Because if you compare the emission that is coming from railway with the emission coming from road, the railway would be at a better stage. Okay. And the cost will also be reduced when you are using railway more. It is more efficient also. So railway should be given more importance, waterway should be given more importance, and not the roadways. And interestingly, India is doing the reverse stuff. Most of our goods are being transported using roadway and not railway or inland waterway. You see, more than 70% or almost 70% of our freight movement, freight means our goods, are being transported using roadways, right? And through railway only 27%. And see, the best option, environmentally friendly, inland waterways, less than 2%. So this is a major problem that we can observe with respect to logistics sector of India. Now we can compare it with other countries too. Let's say you compare it with China or United States. What China has done, they depend on railway for 50% of their freight movement. You see, this is something India has to do. This is the practical way to move ahead. If you look at United States, what they did, they have shifted from the roadways to the railways. Earlier, they were also depending on roadways a lot. Now they have shifted it to a good extent. So we need to learn from China and United States and change this model. Apart from that, we have very poor infrastructure. Even if we have roadways and they are being used, you know the infrastructure of roads, right? So whether roadways, railways, ports, you look at anything, the infrastructure part is very poor with us. Even many a times we run many schemes or many projects. Let's say we have this very good project called dedicated freight corridors. We are building some corridors, but the project is getting delayed again and again. So this is a slow process that is happening. Then fragmented warehouses. We have some warehouses, but they are not in good condition. They are mostly unorganized. 90% lack any kind of automation. And as I said, the cold storage facility, that is also not available with most of these storage facilities or warehouses. Then we do not make use of technology. That is one of the problem that we are facing. So you can make use of GPS, you can make use of automation, Internet of Things. We're not using that. And you see, when you look at the entire logistics sector, we do not have any digital platform which can ensure that at one place you will be dealing with entire logistics sector. There is no such mechanism. There is no such unified digital platform. And this is the reason why we see many delays. Then there are problems from government side, regulation problem. So many ministries are involved, so many departments are involved in the logistics. There is no coordination, good coordination between these ministries. Sometimes state government is involved, sometimes central government is involved. So when a parcel is traveling or getting transported from one state to the other state, it has to get permits, so many permissions, taxes. So all these lead to regulatory hurdles. Then we do not have skilled manpower. So if you see, only 4% or even less than 4% people in this logistics sector, we can say that they are trained officially. They are trained in a formal sense. Rest all are working without any specific training as such. Then when any of these parcels or any of these goods and services they reach to the cities in the urban areas, because in urban areas there is overcrowding, the population is very high, there is traffic, because of which we see that the things do not reach to the customer on time. There are so delays, there are delays that we observe. And also there are security risks involved. Many a times we see that the theft or damage or any kind of risk involved when anything is being transported from one place to the other. These are all the challenges our logistics sector is facing right now. Okay. Now, government initiatives. Has government done something? Yes, government has done something. We have this national logistic policy brought in the year 2022. One of the major objectives of this policy was to reduce this cost, which we said we have 14% of our GDP as our logistics sector cost. Now we want to reduce that to somewhere around 8% of GDP. That's a target we have set. Okay, so government is working on many areas, bringing digital system, logistic human resource, standardization, etc., etc. And government is saying that state governments should also come up with their own policies. They say this Maharashtra government, Gujarat government, they have already started this process. So we have a good policy here. Then government brought some programs, some initiatives like this PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. So your government is saying that we are bringing a digital platform wherein we will bring 16 ministries to coordinate, because we said there was no coordination. So now government is saying we will coordinate over here under this platform. We will make use of technology like this GIS based dashboards we'll use. So all these things are being made, and it is tried, means government is trying that somehow we have to ensure that it should not happen that multiple ministries are working on same project in a different way, or there is duplication of work. So that will be ensured. Then I mentioned about this dedicated freight corridor. So there is western corridor, there is eastern corridor that is being built, work is going on. We have Sagarmala program. Sagarmala program says that we can go for development which is port led. So we are going to develop our ports, and through ports we are going to develop our waterways. So inland waterways, also the coastal shipping, all this will be worked on. Then we have Bharatmala Pariyojana. This will specifically talk about economic corridors, border roads, and highways. So that there is a target set under this Bharatmala Pariyojana that we are going to construct roads of 34,800 kilometers in the phase 1 itself. There will be phase 2 also. Okay. So very good scheme, very good initiative from government side. Then government is going for inland waterways development too. So government said that 111 national waterways will be developed. So it seems government is also very much serious for developing our logistics sector. Now, what can we say then? We know the challenges, we saw that government is doing something, but still we have to give some suggestions, some way forward. What can we do? So all those challenges you have to remember and come up with some solutions. For example, there are some innovative solutions given over here. First of all, there should be a shift towards railways and waterways. You are depending more on the roadways, depend more on railways and these waterways. This should be focused on. So our target with respect to our commitments towards this Paris climate agreement, or our international commitments towards environmental sustainability, that will also be covered, because our carbon dioxide emissions will be reduced because of this thing. This shift is required. Then electrification of road freight. Whatever road transportation you're using, there you can go for electric vehicles. So this will also be important for us. Then green maritime and inland shipping. So whatever maritime shipping you are doing, instead of using petrol, diesel, all these fuels, you can use some alternative fuels, like you can use LNG, hydrogen, ammonia, or any biofuels when you're going for these maritime or inland shipping. Okay. Then sustainable warehousing and infrastructure. Now you can focus on the infrastructure of these warehouses. How you can do that? You can build green building codes like this LED. You can install solar rooftops. All these things can be done very easily. This is doable thing, right? You can use whatever instruments you're using. They must be energy efficient. So this is how what you're doing is you're decarbonizing. There was this theme, if you see in the article, there's a term used, that is decarbonizing. Decarbonization of India's logistics sector. So when you are saying decarbonizing, you're trying to reduce that pollution part, or this greenhouse gas emission part. That is one major important thing which is being done over here. Okay. Then as far as other problems of logistics involved, especially when it comes to urban areas, one thing you can do, you can use electric vehicle only delivery zones. You can have micro distribution centers, some centers in urban pockets. Then smart traffic and route optimization, so you can make use of technology for this. There can be nighttime deliveries only, so because in the daytime you will have traffic. All these things can be done. Now, at the policy level, what you can do is, we have this policy, this national logistic policy. We can realign this policy to solve all these problems. One of that could be measurable green targets. You know, you can bring that element over here. You can more go for this public-private partnership whenever you're going for any development. Let's say we are doing this port-led development. So there you can bring in this PPP model. Then you can use some fiscal tools, like you can bring in this carbon tax and all, using which any fund related problem can be sorted out. We said that our people lack skill, right? We said that only 4% or less than 4% people are formally skilled or trained. So that skilling part can be done. So education, certification, training programs, all these can be done. And at last, some monitoring. You have the policy, you need to check whether your policy is getting implemented or not. You need to go for some reviews, some audits continuously. When you do all these things, then we can see some results. Okay, so this is all about India's logistics sector. Okay, now the next article is about this Indian astronaut who is now heading towards this space, International Space Station. Okay, now this topic is important. You need to know this Exom 4 mission, and you need to know about International Space Station. Now you can please read this previous year question asked in the year 2016. I'll give you 5 seconds. Please read. Okay. Now this question is specifically talking about this Astrosat. Okay. So space technology is an important domain. There are questions asked on space technology. Now it could be any satellite, it could be a space station, it could be a particular mission on which there can be questions asked in the examination. Now today we are going to deal with Exom Mission. Okay, so here we have Air Force Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, and this person is now heading towards International Space Station. You see, last time we heard any such news wherein any Indian was going to space, that was at the time of Indira Gandhi, right? There was Rakesh Sharma who went to space. Now this is the news we are getting somewhere after 30-40 years. So it's a good news, it's a big news for us. Now India also has this Gaganyaan program, under which we are anyway planning to send some Indian astronauts to the space. But that program is yet to come in. Before that, one of our member or one of our astronaut or one of our member from Air Force is heading towards space. So it's a good news, it's a proud moment for India. Now this is happening through this Axiom mission, specifically Axiom mission number 4. See, there are total 4 missions. Axiom mission number 1, that was in the year 2022, then second in 23, third in 24, and fourth one is scheduled in the month of May 2025. Now interesting thing is, till now we were studying about any space mission which is led by any government agency like ISRO or NASA. But here we see this Axiom mission, which is not led by any government agency, rather it is completely private led initiative. Okay, so you see it is operated by this company called Axiom Space. Now to launch this particular mission, they're using a launch vehicle which is called SpaceX Falcon 9, and they're using the spacecraft called SpaceX Crew Dragon. Okay, now what will happen? These people, whoever they're going, these people are leading towards International Space Station. Now you should know what is this International Space Station. Now just like we have let's say railways, for railways we have railway station, for buses we have bus stand or bus station. Similarly, we have for the space, whenever you're traveling to space, there is one location where you can go, that is International Space Station. So it's a permanently crewed orbital research laboratory. It's a laboratory which is orbiting in this space, okay, where it is located somewhere at the altitude of 400 kilometers from the surface of the earth. It is 400 kilometers away. Now you see some of the facts which you should know, like it was launched in the year 1998, first crew mission took place in 2000, then its speed at which it is orbiting, it is 28,000 kilometers per hour. Now, this is a laboratory. That means they are doing some kind of research. Now, this research will go on in astrobiology, astronomy, physics, climate studies, material studies. Many things will happen. And it's not like this International Space Station is owned by any one country as such. It's International Space Station. There are many different agencies involved over here. From US, we have NASA. From Russia, we have Roscosmos. From Europe, we have European Space Agency. From Japan, we have this JAXA, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, and from Canada, we have Canadian Space Agency. All these agencies involved, they collaborated to build this International Space Station because that was not an easy task. Now, a good thing is even India is planning to build its own space station. We're still working on it. Okay, and this space station is governed by international treaties and international agreements. Now, coming back to this Axiom program. First of all, they are going to make some kind of experiments over there. They are going to demonstrate some technology over there by going to International Space Station. Okay, and whatever they do, there will be some significance for us. For example, there will be more commercialization of space travel because of this mission. You see, private members are getting into the field of space. So space travel as a new thing will emerge from here. Okay. Second, building a commercial space station. Now, this is also one of the ideas of Exom Mission. They're saying that in future they're planning to build their own space station. Now, this will be a privately owned space station. Interesting. There is global collaboration because whoever is involved, let's say one Indian is involved, there are many people involved from different countries. I'll show you that. So you see, this first Axiom mission, first private mission to ISS. Second, you see, first Saudi female astronaut was there. Third, astronauts from multiple nations. In the fourth, we have our Indian astronaut too. So whenever this Axiom mission is heading towards the space, they are bringing people from different countries. So anyway, we see global collaboration over here. Now with this mission, we see scientific and technological advancement in this field, and astronaut training and future missions will also get some kind of learning from this kind of mission. Okay, so this is all about this Axiom mission. Easy, very easy, right? Now we have the third article of the day, that is about this Nisar mission. Nisar, this mission is very important, I'll say, one of the most important missions in the upcoming days that we'll see. So, first of all, see this previous year question. There is a question on Mangalyaan. Okay, although Mangalyaan is specifically a mission from ISRO, but because when we talk about this Nisar mission, this one is a collaboration of ISRO and NASA, and this is happening for the first time, wherein both agencies are coming together to make a satellite. So this is a breakthrough. This is something very big, we can say. Okay. Now there's something interesting. We're talking about this Nisar project since years. It's been more than 10 years we're talking about Nisar project, and it is still not working. It has not been launched as such till now, right? So right now this ISRO chairman announced that you will see a good news in recent times. Maybe we are going to launch it in the year 2025 itself, in the month of June. We will launch this Nisar mission. Okay, so after 10 years with a long delay, we'll see some good news. Now, first of all, what is this Nisar mission all about? What is so special about it? You see, there's something called observation satellites. We send some satellites to observe Earth. They are observing Earth, they are taking images of Earth, and those images are provided to us. So we use that. Even our GPS, if you see, that comes up with the data that is being provided to these satellites. Now what happens is, when you look at these Earth observation satellites, although they come up with data, there are some problems these satellites face, the normal satellites I'm talking about. First of all, let's say there is night time. In the daytime, they provide data. Daytime, they can take good images. But in the night time, They're not in a position to take good images. That is one problem. Then there is problem of cloudy atmosphere. Let's say in the monsoon time there's cloudy atmosphere. Because of this cloudy stuff, they can't take good images. So if we need 24/7 imaging, then all these satellites, they become little bit useless for us. Now here comes the role of this Nisar. Nisar satellite is going to solve this problem entirely. First of all, it can give you good images, high quality images. It's not just images, but very high quality, high resolution images in the night time also, daytime also, whether it is cloudy atmosphere or any atmosphere. I can simply say in any weather condition, you will get good quality, high resolution images from this satellite. This is the core idea. Okay. Now, how it is in a position to do this thing? The reason is this Nisar is using radio frequency. It is using radar technology, and here the frequency is dual frequency. Now normally what happens in the radar technology also, we do not make use of multiple bands, multiple frequency, we use one. How radar actually works? Radar is going to send one radio wave, let's say. Now the wave will reach to a place and it will come back. Now what is the length of this wave? How much time it has taken to come back? All this will be calculated, and based on this, what kind of structure is present on the earth, that will be calculated and image will be generated. This is how this radar technology actually works. Now here interesting is there are two different bands are being used, two different frequency are being used in this Nisar project. Okay, so first one is, where is it mentioned? S band, L band. Okay, although it's not mentioned, no problem. Now we have two. One is L band radar, that is coming from NASA, and we have another one, that is S band radar, coming from ISRO. Now both are going to play different roles, and that's why this Nisar project becomes important. You see, if we talk about United States L band radar, its frequency is somewhere around 1.2 gigahertz. You don't need to go for these many technical details. What you need to know is it's a long wavelength. It has long wavelength. Now what it will help us with? So whenever you want to see dense vegetation, dense forest canopy, snow, there, this kind of wavelength will be very helpful. It can take good images. So very good, we can say. So in case there is earthquake, volcanic activity, land subsidence, now these are very slow events. If you want to track such slow events, you want to take images of such slow events, this L band is going to be very helpful. Then you have this S band. This S band will be very helpful if you want to take high resolution surface details. So normal surface, not any phenomena like earthquake or all, but normal surface details you need, but high quality. So you want to know urban landscape, any changes happening in the agriculture field, any changes happening in coastal areas, you can observe in a very good manner. Okay, and here we are using short wavelength. Okay, so this is all about this Nisar. You should also know this name, NASA ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar. This is the long form of this Nisar. So if this satellite works, that is going to help us in many stuffs. For example, in understanding our ecosystem, understanding these glaciers, vegetation, sea level rise, how much is taking place, groundwater variation, any natural hazard like earthquake, landslide, volcanoes, anything. We can observe that. Even climate change related data also will get in detail now. Okay, good. Now we have next article, and this article is about Natyashastra and Bhagavad Gita. So recently, there's an agency under United Nations called as UNESCO. What they have done recently is they have added this Bhagavad Gita and Natyashastra in one of their register. The name of that register is UNESCO Memory of the World Register. That's why this news is important for us and we need to know about this register particularly. Now you see this previous year question asked in year 2014. So international agreements they have mentioned and they're asking which one of the above has a bearing on biodiversity. Now this was specific to biodiversity, but there can be questions with respect to any international agreement, any international register. So this register can be directly asked in the exam, especially anything related to United Nations also becomes important. UNESCO being a specialized agency. Now, what has happened recently? Now UNESCO maintains this register. Okay, for them it's a register for heritage. So whatever they feel that it is important part of the heritage for the entire world, they will try to save it. Let's say something is having importance in terms of, where is it mentioned, give me 1 second. Yeah, so what they will try to do is they are going to document the heritage for humanity. Document it. See, it might happen that, let's say, 1,000 years back there was a book written which is very important for the entire humanity. Okay, but now because it was written on manuscripts, there's a possibility it might get damaged because of the nature, because it's been 1,000 years, the paper or the manuscript it might not remain in the real condition. There's a possibility people might try to damage it deliberately, that is also possible. So there's a need to preserve this knowledge, preserve this heritage, and this responsibility is taken by UNESCO. So they are maintaining this register, or we call them a kind of a memory of the world register. So they launched it in the year 1992. From that time onwards, they are maintaining this kind of a stuff. Now here, what recently they did, they added total 74 new documentary heritage collections. Out of these 74, two were from India, and these two are Bhagavad Gita and Bharat Muni's Natyashastra. Now we should have a brief idea about this Bhagavad Gita and Natyashastra. Bhagavad Gita, most of you anyway know, right? It is part of the entire Mahabharat scripture, and in the Mahabharat we have this. What is the name? I think I don't remember the name of that particular chapter or that volume, but there's one specific volume that comes up from entire Mahabharat, and that is specifically termed as Bhagavad Gita. Now here you get the concepts like dharma, karma, bhakti yoga, and the nature is somewhat philosophical. Now, especially we read about Bhagavad Gita in our ethics lectures. So when we'll study in the ethics, I'll specifically discuss about the learnings from Bhagavad Gita for a person to live a life ethically, to live a very good life, or go for what we call as karma yoga. Okay. Then we have Natya Shastra written by Bharatamuni. Natya Shastra is also very important, specifically considering India's art and India's culture. This Natya Shastra has played an important role. It is being said that it was written somewhere around 200 before Christ era. To this timeline, it is said that maybe by this time it was written, and it covers theater, dance, music, stage design, makeup, emotions. There's a rust theory which is very important over here, and this rust theory has some impact on India's culture. For example, we have those classical dances like Kathak and all. Those have got some kind of learning from this rasa theory, which talks about different emotions. How you can express those emotions on your face. This is shown in this rasa theory. So all these are things are covered in this Natyashastra. So this you should certainly know. These are your 4 articles. Now the 5th article for today is about this governor of Tamil Nadu, that case in which Supreme Court has given its judgment. It was and it is remaining under controversy because even Vice President has said something about it, that court is going way beyond its authority. It's an overreach, kind of nuclear bomb or something. They are saying, because of which we see many editorials coming up. It's a good editorial. Now we have already covered it, so I'll be providing you the link in the description box. You can directly reach out to this daily news analysis of 14th April. So here you see Tamil Nadu governor case, right? Comprehensively we have covered this article already, and it's highly important for the examination. Now time for practice questions. First of all, mains practice question. India's logistics sector is central to economic growth, but also one of the most carbon intensive. Discuss the need for its decarbonization and examine the strategies and policy measures undertaken to achieve a sustainable logistic ecosystem. So first of all, you need to talk about this need for carbonization. Then you have to give strategy or policy, or simply the recommendation or way forward part. Okay. In the introduction, I suggest talk about India's logistics sector. You should know about some data, at least that contribution part to GDP, 14%. That you can mention, or you can tell about this valuation part. Okay, and you can set the context. Then in the body part, need for decarbonization, why it is needed, you can show that part. Then the decarbonization strategy, whatever we discussed, that will be here. So shift towards railways, electrifying means using electric vehicles, warehousing, cleaner maritime options like LNG, solar power, all these things we can do. And at policy level, what we can do, what we already have, government schemes, government policies, all this can be discussed in this answer. And eventually we can say that yes, this decarbonization strategy is needed, we have to work on it, and we can certainly do it, right? Now some questions from yesterday's daily news analysis, will know the answers. One question related to this V2G technology, vehicle to grid, right? Very easy question. V2G allows electric vehicles to draw electricity from the grid but not to return electricity back to it. 100% wrong. 100% wrong. If it is wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, 2 and 3 is the right answer. I don't need to read the other statements, right? Then, with reference to Central Consumer Protection Authority, it was established under Consumer Protection Act 1986. Now this data is exactly wrong data. It was, if I'm not wrong, it is 2019, not 1986. So this statement is wrong. First wrong, first wrong, first wrong, I got the answer. Very easy, right? Even this statement was wrong if you could come up with. Ministry of Law and Justice, this is wrong. This is a different ministry altogether. Consumer Protection, right? Now with reference to India Justice Report 2025, it is prepared annually by Ministry of Home Affairs. Look at this. Whenever ministry comes in, think about it once again. Okay, is this right? Is this wrong? It is wrong. First of all, this report does not come from government side. It comes from civil society groups. So the statement becomes wrong. The report evaluates capacity of states and UTs in delivering justice through police, judiciary, prisons, legal aid, human rights. That is true. So second statement is right. B is the answer. Now, questions from today's daily news analysis articles. So this is homework for you. I suggest pause the video, try to attempt the questions. So there's a link given in the description box. You can in the comment box too. You can directly attempt questions from there. Okay, and you'll get the answers also. Or else tomorrow anyway we are going to discuss the answers for these questions. Okay, first question on Exom Mission. Second question on this UNESCO Memory of the World Register. Right? Pause the screen, read the question and attempt it. And the last one is related to this Nisar space mission. Again pause and attempt this question. Okay. So this is all about the daily news analysis for today. We'll meet in the next session. Thank you so much for joining.